I've said before that a law making mandatory DNA testing at birth is a terrible idea, but men decided they wanted to argue with me, so I'm going to readdress the issue. Mandatory paternity testing at birth is a terrible idea. If you choose to get a paternity test at birth, that's on you. I truly do not care. Mandatory is the key word here. Mandatory DNA testing would mean that every child born into the United States, plus both of their parents, would need to be tested at birth. We not seeing why that's a bad idea? One, that's going to lead to the government storing our genetic data. They're not going to take every single American's genetic info and just throw it away. Two, imagine a man cheats on his wife, God forbid with a teenager. What do you think he's going to do to her when he realizes she's pregnant and he has to do a DNA test? But we don't care about endangering women or children's lives, right? I know. And three, who's going to pay for it? Because the government sure isn't, and I'm not paying to get a DNA test because you too scared to ask your baby mama for a paternity test. The real solution here that a lot of people don't want to hear is to stop having sex with people you don't want to create a family with.
Accountability is kryptonite to modern women. The reason they don't want mandatory DNA testing at birth is simple. Too many women could end up facing legal consequences for paternity fraud, and countless marriages and families would fall apart. And for the government and society, keeping men married is far more convenient. Today we're covering, there should be DNA tests at birth to confirm I'm the father. Women are mad. Before we get started, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. It really helps us out. Let's get into it.
My neighbor has been battling with his ex-wife over custody and child support for about 6 months. And just as he was getting ready to win and have custody of his daughter, and she was going to be put on child support and supervised visitation, she pulled out the I want a DNA test. And I'm going to have you guys know, this wasn't even his daughter, and she knew all along. She was just trying to screw him over, remove him from this child's life, put him on child support so that she could get back with the father who just got out of prison. I mean, look, this is like right out of the Springer Show bullshit. She's a Christian, goes to church every Sunday, teaches Sunday school. I mean, I'm here to tell you guys, be effing careful. These women are vindictive as shit, and they hide behind the Bible. Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Oh, hell no!
That's downright evil, and it's not an isolated case. Let me tell every man something. If you trust blindly, you'll end up paying someone else's bill, literally. If you're one of those men who doesn't want to ruin your marriage with a DNA test, listen carefully. Get the test anyway, but do it quietly. Through Ancestry, a hospital, a private lab, however you choose. Do it before the child turns 1. No drama, no confrontation, just the truth. Because a lot of these women are cheating on good, decent men. Loyalty is becoming harder to find. Many want to have a child with the Chad, then go looking for a stable, responsible man to raise that child and pay the child support. That's exactly what this woman wanted. Watch how she presented herself as a church-going woman.
My neighbor has been battling with his ex-wife over custody and child support for about 6 months. And just as he was getting ready to win and have custody of his daughter, and she was going to be put on child support and supervised visitation, she pulled out the I want a DNA test. And I'm going to have you guys know, this wasn't even his daughter, and she knew all along. She was just trying to screw him over, remove him from this child's life, put him on child support.
Look, I'm not saying that women shouldn't be able to vote, but I do think that women should be held accountable. Because why? Time and time again, is it just acceptable for a woman to take advantage of a man through the family court system? And this happens because, first of all, there's no prevention of it. There's no DNA test that is forced upon that woman upon the birth of that child, which is a very simple solution. Second of all, even if you don't like the DNA test idea, the problem is that women can be extremely deceptive, especially when it comes to what they want and desire for their child. They, in their opinion, can decide that another man is a better father figure for their child, and they essentially will cut off the biological father, whether that's through deceiving both of those men or just through one man. It is pretty terrible. Bottom line, there is just not enough accountability for it, because a woman can do this and then she is forgiven by the family court system. But even though there's literally literally no legal repercussions placed on that woman, I think that we can all agree that she is not a good mom.
And mind you, DNA testing should be 100% mandatory. I don't care if you're married or not. I'm sorry. But as a man, that is the weirdest thing in the world. Imagine you literally just have this child with you and they're saying it's your baby, but you're like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, it's my baby. Like, you just have to accept that someone's telling you that this is your baby. At the end of the day, we see it all the time. These women go and they have these kids 25, 30, 18 years later. We find out the baby's not yours. Again, I think that that is the weirdest thing in the world. You know how much trust you have to have for somebody just to believe that the baby is yours? I understand these y'all wives and all, but at the same time, a lot of motherfuckers is wives and a lot of motherfuckers have babies to their side men's. I just feel like at the end of the day, that should be mandatory.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
It should be mandatory. A woman always knows who got her pregnant. She knows who the child's biological father is, and she also knows which man is the better choice to be a responsible father. That's why many sleep with the Chad, the guy who brings nothing to the table, and then go looking for the dependable beta provider, the man who will provide the resources. In my opinion, this should carry criminal penalties. Imagine the pain of a father and a child finding out that the man who was there their entire lives isn't actually the biological father. Or imagine spending years raising a child, staying up through sleepless nights, taking care of them when they're sick, struggling through financial hardship, giving them the best life you can, only to discover they were never biologically yours. That's why I'll say it again. Get the DNA test, even if you have to do it quietly. No one will ever know unless you tell them.
Women.
Babe, so a couple of months ago, I made a video simply saying that if a man comes to you asking for a DNA test, that he's simply wanting to make sure that you didn't cheat on him. And for whatever reason, both men and women became disheveled about this. And now I'm noticing that the video is hitting the algorithm again for whatever reason. There's people getting upset again and offended again. I'm flabbergasted about it because I really don't understand, because I feel like it's really common sense. So I pick up the phone and I call one of my homegirls on FaceTime and I'm like, give me some perspectives. Let me know if I'm missing something in this conversation, in this statement that's offending people. This girl starts busting out laughing to the point it's tears in her eyes. And I'm just like, I'm confused. Like, what is so funny? And the best way that she can through her laughing, she begins to explain to me people are so offended by it is because they're wearing the shoes that fit. The act of cheating is real. She says that that's a big way that women get caught up cheating. When the baby comes out and it turns out that it's not the person that they're in the relationships with. That's not the father. And that was crazy to me because that didn't even dawn on me. I'm thinking that people are just taking it the wrong way or it's coming off the wrong way. No, it's just that simply people are wearing the shoes that fit. Hey, dogs are hollering.
It's funny because it's true.
Exactly. Most people get angry because they're hiding something. Look, if a woman truly wants to give a man the ultimate gift of trust, she should willingly take a DNA test. Let that man know with certainty that the child is 100% his. You'll see how that man will love and appreciate her for the rest of his life. Even if things go wrong someday, he'll still have respect for her. But many women don't see it that way. They think it's about not trusting them. Trust? What are you talking about? A child is a lifelong commitment. Finding out that the child isn't yours can be the kind of pain that destroys a man. So remember, the only person who knows for certain who that child belongs to is the mother.
Good morning, TikTok. My name's Mandy. This is my very first time making a TikTok. I very much enjoy watching people's videos, but I get nervous to post my own. But I think it's time that I make this post. A few people that are very close to me know what's going on with my life. And to make a long story short, I took an ancestry DNA kit fairly recently. I wanted to find out like my ethnicity and stuff like that. And so I took one and my results show that I am 43% Portuguese, 35% Senegalese or Cape Verdean from Senegal. I am 16% Spanish from Spain, and then like 3% English, 2% Wales, 2% Greek, like a few other things. And if anybody's done an ancestry DNA test, you know that it then asks you, like, do you want to, like, share your DNA to find matches? And so I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And so it showed a bunch of matches. It separates them by, like, maternal and paternal and stuff like that. And I'm coming across, like, cousins and stuff. And I'm like, oh, my God, there's my cousin Bubba. There's my cousin Devin. Oh, my God, there's my cousin Tina. Blah, 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 you know? And I had a high percentage marker with an individual on my paternal side. Person's name was John Montero. And now a little backstory about me. My paternal grandparents are married. They have 4 children together. Typical Cape Verdean family, though. My grandparents have 4 kids together, but my grandfather has 6 outside of the marriage. And so the ancestry identified this close match of mine as like it said close family member, and it was asking me to distinguish the relationship between me and this person. And it gave me 5 options, which were grandfather, grandson, uncle, brother, or nephew. And through a process of elimination, this person being in their mid to late 40s, me being in my early 30s, fair to say he's not my grandfather. Fair to say he's not my grandson, because my kids are 11 and 15. I was the first one of my siblings to have children, and so me being 33 and this individual being in their 40s, I doubt it's my nephew. Anyways, fast forward a little bit. So I'm like thinking, oh my God, it says paternal, like, I'm thinking this has to be an uncle, you know? So I reach out to my dad's fiance, and I'm like thinking that I have this tea, like, oh my God, my dad has another brother, like, or at least that's what I'm thinking. And so I reach out to my dad's fiance, and I'm like, hey, I have a paternal uncle on Ancestry.com that shares 27% DNA with me. Like, oh my God, like, I gotta tell my dad. So we get my dad involved, and then my dad is like, no, that's not true. That's my 4th cousin, this person. Also, another side note, my family, my last name's Gomes, and at our family reunion, it's the Gomes Montero family reunion. So another reason why this wasn't like major red flag, because we're related to Monteros. So my dad's like, no, this is like my 3rd or 4th cousin or something. And I'm like, oh, okay. But that's weird to me because my first cousins that I've grown up with my whole life only share 10, like anywhere from 8 to 11% DNA with me. This person shares 27%. So if it's your 4th cousin, Dad, that'd make it like my 5th or 6th cousin. And for them to share 27% DNA with me, okay. My father's like, I don't know. He's getting a little frustrated. He's like, you got to talk to Grandpa. So I call Grandpa. Hey, Grandpa. And I didn't know how to approach this with my grandfather. So I'm like, how do I even bring this up? So I was like, hey, Grandpa, you know them ancestry DNA tests? And he's like, yeah. And I said, I'm kind of interested in like building our family tree. Like I recently took a DNA test and I am interested in learning more about our family. And he's like, oh, you took a DNA test? Oh, so did Grandpa, baby. Did it pop up like me being your grandpa and your siblings and all your aunts and cousins? You know, we all took them already, right? And I'm like, no, I didn't know that. And he's like, yeah. It should show on your DNA matches, me as your grandfather and your sisters as your sisters. Your 2 sisters took them. Your brother took it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I don't see any of you. And he's like, all right, go on Ancestry, type in my name, look me up. So-and-so is not a DNA match to you or has not submitted an Ancestry DNA kit. This is my grandfather. But he did submit a DNA kit. My grandfather was like, that's weird. Pull up your sisters. Pull up my sister. You and so-and-so do not share any DNA. Pull up my other sister. You and so-and-so do not share any DNA. So I don't share DNA with my grandfather. I don't share DNA with my sister, my other sister, or my brother. So the wheels are turning. So that means that my dad's not my dad. My grandfather was like, that's not true. My grandparents were like, somebody tampered with your test. This is a fluke. Somebody must have touched your test, and that's how the specimen got tampered with. And I'm like, that's not how this works. Nobody opened my vacuum sealed, priority mail sealed envelope and vacuum sealed tube and spit on top of my spit. That's not how it works, Nana. That's not how it works. So needless to say, I was devastated. I felt like my life was falling apart. I had to grieve the loss of so many things. Oh, forgot to mention this. My mom is already deceased. She's been gone for several years now, about 8 years. So it's not like I can just reach out to her with all these questions, you know? My dad was blindsided. Everybody was blindsided. I never once suspected this. I'm trying to like wrap this up because I only have a few minutes left. But so that led me back to Ancestry's results in this high DNA match. Because now I'm like, well, I thought I had piping hot tea that my grandfather is a secret love child. I'm the piping hot tea. I'm the secret love child. And so I reach out to this person because now I just feel like my whole life has been devastated. I just had to grieve the loss of like my last name, my identity, my siblings, my so much. We'll get into that in another video. So I started there and I messaged this individual and I kind of was apprehensive because I didn't know what to say. But then I'm like, you know what? Just say it. And so I reached out and I told this person, through this Ancestry DNA test, I just found out that my dad is not my dad. My siblings don't share DNA with me. And you are my highest genetic match. It's not saying you're my dad, but it's saying that you are most likely my uncle. 100% certainty that you're either my uncle or my brother. And now I don't know who my dad is. And so, you know, if you have any information you feel that you can contribute, I'd be so appreciative. This person told me to add them on Facebook. They messaged me back and told me to add them on Facebook. And so I did, and I started creeping through their Facebook, literally FBI investigator, me, my best friend, and her sister, all three of us on our phones creeping through this person's whole life of what we can find on Facebook. I found siblings of his parents, like everything. But I came across a picture. And I dropped my phone out of my hands because the picture scared me. Because I was staring at a picture of myself. I will stitch everything in for you all to see, but I came across a picture of a male that passed away in 1993. And you ever seen like adoption videos where people like come across their long lost child or their kidnapped child and they just know that that's their kid. They have this feeling, they just know. I just knew when I saw this picture that that was my dad. I just knew. The gentleman ended up reaching out to me saying, I think I have some information to provide to you if it would be okay for me to call you. He called me, we spoke. He gave me a little bit of information. I think that my deceased brother might be your dad. He passed away in 1993. You have a striking resemblance to him. Yeah. And I got 16 seconds left of this video, but that is a little bit of my story of how an Ancestry DNA kit has changed my life. I'll follow up with a part 2.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
And that mother died without ever answering for what she had done. She took the secret to the grave, leaving her daughter to piece together her own identity alone, one fragment at a time, through an Ancestry DNA test. But look at what this case reveals. This young woman spent her entire life believing one man was her father. She built her identity and her story on that foundation, only to discover it was all built on a lie created by her mother. Time didn't cause the damage. A conscious decision did. A decision made by a woman who knew exactly what she was hiding. That's why DNA testing should be mandatory. And that's why people should be held accountable for the consequences of their own actions. If someone was irresponsible enough to have an affair behind your back, they should also be responsible enough to deal with the consequences of the situation they created. But that's not how it works, is it? When it's time to receive, they're there. When it's time to take responsibility, they're not. Accountability is kryptonite to modern women. We've reached the end of the video, but before you go, here are a couple of questions for you. Do you think mandatory DNA testing at birth would protect men, or would it destroy trust in relationships? If you were the man in this story, do you think you could have continued having a relationship with that daughter after discovering the truth? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Your support means a lot to us and motivates us to keep creating more content. Don't miss the next video on the wall.